Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Hey, you guys, welcome to another segment of We Got Issues. Oh my goodness, we're excited about today. We're talking about create the space that you love. You guys, put in the chat, how many of you love to decorate? How many of you absolutely love to decorate? What's your favorite place in the house? What are some of the things that you add to your house to make it your special space? Well, today we're going to hear from someone who just decorated their home and is phenomenal at it. So listen up and we'll be back right at the break.
Yeah, we're going out tonight. It's your host, Gloria Mayfield Banks. And I'm so Can you guys hear me? Okay.
I heard a man's voice, but it's all good.
It's all good. Can you? Okay, got it. Okay, we're here with We Got Issues. It's a 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. And I'm so excited to be with you guys today. Welcome to We Got Issues. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. And it is an honor and a privilege to serve with you guys every single day. For those of you who are listening from Detroit, for those of you who are listening on our international stage, for those of you who are on our Facebook pages, we are absolutely loving the girlfriends that we have here. You guys, we're here to bring the light, the love, the lessons. And we are here to make sure that you get a lot of life out of what we're talking about today. There's a lot going on in the news. There's a lot going on in the world. Today, we're talking about another amazing girlfriend. You know, it is the girlfriends that make the world go round. That's why we call ourselves the Force of Friendship. It is the girlfriends that make the world go round. But we're going to be talking about how to create a beautiful space for you, how to create a beautiful place in your home, how to create something from scratch. I am here in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, with a girlfriend of mine that you guys are going to meet in a few minutes. But I walked into her home. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have, when I tell you zero decorating skill. When I tell you I got the big zero decorating skill. I redid our house and put the same furniture right back in there because I didn't know how to buy it. I didn't know how to shop online. I didn't know none of that stuff. I walked into Delores' house. It's like, oh my gosh. And you guys, even though I have no decorating skills, I absolutely love the decorating. I love going to my girlfriend's house. Each one of these women on the Force of Friendship have beautiful homes, beautiful backgrounds, beautiful talent, of which I have none. So, you know, Jackie Glenn always said, know your weaknesses and embrace them. So my weakness is decorating. That's okay. But I love talking to women who know how to do it. So I'm inviting all of our friends to call in and give us your thoughts on decorating. Are you talented? Or are you lacking like Gloria Mayfield Banks? Do you love colors? Do you love to go to Home Goods? Y'all, seriously. It's a situation. Ken used Dolores' towels. He was like, oh my God, I have never touched towels like this. I said, oh, my towels are the microdermabrasion towels. They so dry and crusty. It's ridiculous. Let me go to my co-host, Caterina Harris Earl. How are you doing out there, Caterina? Talk to us.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This is my time. My husband's in Chicago. I'm in California. So I've been getting a lot done. And it's so cool to call your boyfriend and say, hey, how you doing today? You know, kind of enjoying that. But you know what? I talked to my cousin this morning and she told me that only 18% of Black folks in Chicago have been vaccinated. And I had to Google those statistics.
How many?
18%. 18%.
Wow.
I had to Google it. And sure enough, I was like, that's crazy. So I'm headed to Chicago and I'm like, and everything's open. Everything is open.
Why
18%. And it's not just because of them not wanting to get the vaccine. Some of it is access, transportation, all kinds of different things. So we got issues. We got plenty of vaccines and we got issues. Yeah.
Right. And
we got issues.
Biden said he's giving away 500 million vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Around the world, which the world needs. So yes, Crisette. Okay, let me just say, before Crisette talks, let me tell you right now. Let me just tell you. Okay, so I'm visiting and we stayed an extra day. That's a whole nother story I'll talk about. So I put on my little shirt and I said, let me go find me a necklace. Let me go. I know Chris is going to have on a fabulous necklace. I said, let me go find. I was so disappointed in my little piece of necklace. And sure enough, Chris didn't let me down. Go ahead with the necklace talk, Chris. Say it. Talk to him.
Hey, everybody. We got issues all around, okay? I'm so excited to be here, hanging out with my girls, hanging out with all of our listeners and Facebook people that are watching us. We're excited to be here. You know what? I love this topic, create the space that you love. And so, you know what? I come from a family. My mother absolutely had a green thumb. I'm serious. She had the last name Green because she literally had a green thumb. My mother absolutely loved flowers. That was passed to my older sister, Karen. When I tell you, almost every year in her subdivision, they win the prize. Gloria, you would have a come apart because she wins the prize. Number one prize.
Wow. Yeah, you know I would.
Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely.
I'm walking around with a pillowcase over my head like this. Oh, no.
I'm telling you, her yard is absolutely gorgeous. And then my other sister, her yard is fabulous. And so I said, okay, I got to do something. And I'm going to tell you, today I planted some flowers. And when I tell you my yard looks really nice, I can honestly say I have a little of the green girl green thumb. I said, when my sister comes over, she's going to be very proud of me. But I do know that when you're creating the space that you love, I've read about it, I've seen it, that flowers are very important inside and outside. They literally make a difference. When you drive up and you see somebody's yard that has, shrubbery and annuals, perennials, and the flowers, you're just like, wow, it's so gorgeous. You don't have a clue what it looks like on the inside, but as long as it looks beautiful on the outside, you're like, yes. So I'm excited about this conversation on today. Can't wait to dive into it. So Gloria, I'm throwing it back to you.
Okay, well, we're going to Sabrina.
Don't even try it. Yep, she's there. I was like, don't leave out. Don't leave out.
Oh Lord, here we go. You don't need. Oh, here we go.
You leave me out. I am here, okay? I am here on the radio. We will talk show first before y'all have the video, but I'm excited about the topic, you guys. We got a big storm in North Carolina. Something came through, knocked out electricity in our area. They said it won't be on for another 2-3 hours. 900 homes affected. So I'm now on Facebook, but I am here on audio. And so to the talk show audience, let's get excited. Well, I'm excited. I said, oh my goodness, wherever you are, it's amazing. Let's talk to your girlfriend. I love beautiful spaces. I love my house to look a certain way, smell a certain way. It makes a difference, especially when you run a home-based business.
Right.
So it makes such a difference. And so, Gloria, thank you for bringing the topic to us today. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah. I'm the one.
The one who was just on Millionaire.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
I don't know what to do with it. And Ken is way better at it than me, way better at it. So I am excited to bring in my girlfriend, Delores Oliver, who is an amazing person. Hey, Delores, we're so excited.
How is everybody?
It is exciting to have you on this show, Delores. You guys are going to love this conversation. Let me tell you why you're going to love this conversation. Number one, you're going to love this conversation because Delores is just a real down home sister, born and raised in Washington, D.C. And she's just a phenomenal person. And what I love about her is she's one of Ken, my husband's closest friends. So they went to college together, you know, I sit around in the room. I listen to the stories of the way back college days when he wasn't nowhere thinking about me, right? And they just go at it. But not often do your husband's best friends become your friend as well. So me and Delores, we can just go on for hours. We can just leave Ken and Jim, over there, and we'd be having a great time. So that's really awesome. Today, it's her 9th anniversary to her husband, Jim. I know, we love love. We love love. We love love. So listen, y'all, today, and I'll tell you about Jim too, because Jim is a phenomenal. He's a retired, amazing cardiologist doctor. And he's just brilliant in what he does. And they travel the world together. And I told him that we love travel. So there's a lot to talk about there. But seriously, the doorbell rang and somebody was knocking on the door early this morning. And Delores, when I tell you, her bedroom, their bedroom is way in the back over there. So I know she didn't hear the door. So I go to the door. When I tell you that man sent her, like it's got to be 5 or 6 billowing, long stem, multicolor roses. Talking about I love you. I said, that's obvious. That is freaking obvious that he loved you, okay? I mean, it was like billowing. But before Delores talks, let me just tell you a little bit about her, because she, when we talk about we got issues, and we talk about the friends of the force of friendships, and we talk about traveling. Number one, Delores likes to travel. So, when we get all the girlfriends together, she will be all up in it. Her suitcase will be the first one packed. And so it's exciting because I want to tell you, she's been an executive director of the Proud to Be Me Foundation, which is a foundation that she directed. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to educate the underserved communities on the signs and risks related to brain aneurysms and other health-related priorities. And we've talked about different health issues on this show. So she's, you guys, seriously, she was valedictorian at her high school. She went to Adelphi with Ken, and he talked about how smart she is. So she's exciting. She's fun. She was a chief operating officer and vice president of clinical operations at the Bridgepoint Hospital in Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. So not only was she a serious heavy hitter in D.C., she's also knows the political scene of the city of D.C. So we absolutely love her as a brain, as a professional, as a high caliber executive nurse, and an executive in the C-suites. The C-suites, not just the corner office, the offices that have they have a porch on the outside. They have the floor to ceiling windows, all that kind of office. She's vice president for the patient care service at the Specialty Hospital of Washington and Capitol Hill, an independent nurse consultant, vice president and chief nursing officer of patient care services, director of medical surgery for nursing in the hospital, patient on security safety officer, Villanova. She's got the postmaster from Villanova. George Washington University has her master's. Adelphi, where she got her bachelor's, and she's married, and she's got 2 amazing children, and she's fine and sexy and fabulous. Okay, she got all rolled up into it together. And the reason I wanted her on, and we talked about yesterday, Sabrina says, bring your friend in, because y'all know I done put her house all over my social media. Right. Put it all over. But Delores, one of the reasons that I have absolutely loved this is I came down to her house, which is on the beach, Chesapeake Beach. It's gorgeous. And I want you to talk about not just the mindset, but the goal, you guys, to tear the house down and rebuild the custom house from scratch. Like, And this is her third custom house. Who does that? Who builds 3 custom houses? Like, who builds one? Like, I took a house that was halfway done. I was like, whoo, child, I ain't picking up now one more toilet ever again, ever. So she is amazing. Delores, tell them a little bit about yourself and do what I asked you to do. Brag about yourself. I know I did something, but tell them about who you be.
Oh, wow. Well, with all that being said, I don't even know where to start. But we felt that we wanted to retire on the water, first of all. And so we spent a little bit of time kind of traveling around trying to figure out where we wanted to go. And we went down to Florida and looked at a few places, but we live in Maryland and our family is in Maryland. And we've always had this property here and really just came here for the weekends. Then when we decided that it was time for us to permanently retire, we thought, well, what better place to do it than some place where we're very comfortable. We can get to the family within an hour. They can get to us and we're still on the water. So we're on the Chesapeake Bay. We may not be on the Atlantic Ocean, but we're on Chesapeake Bay. So, that was fine. So the house was old and the driving force, I have to tell you, was the Wi-Fi. We had to have a modern house. You had to get to Wi-Fi. You can't operate a business from home without Wi-Fi. So that was one of the primary reasons we decided to do it. So we decided to just demolish the house down to the ground. We took out the foundation and then we started from scratch. We had the architect, we designed the house based on the priorities that my husband and I wanted. And little by little, room by room, it took us probably about a year to design it, spending all the time with the architect, the engineers. And because we're on the water, there are a lot of requirements because of the environment. We want to save the bay. So a lot of things that you might be able to do in a normal, regular community, you can't do on the water. So,
okay, so Delores, before you get to that, because I got lots of questions about that.
Please,
okay. I first want them to know who you are as a woman, who you be. And, when she's got a lot of brothers and sisters, just tell me a little bit about the story, because I want them to know who Delores is, Delores Oliver.
Well, I'm a Washingtonian, so I grew up in D.C. I grew up in the hood. So, it was a very large Catholic family, 11 children and 2 parents, 11 children. Yes. 2 parents, only educated up to the 8th grade because they couldn't go any further coming from South Carolina. So they migrated to Washington, D.C. and what they had was family. And family was most important. And one thing that was, everybody was real clear, you had to go to school and you had to graduate. And so, and I'm a middle child. So I'm like the youngest of one group and I'm the oldest of another group since we're so many of us. So it was, at one point you kind of felt like the mother of your younger brothers and sisters because either mom was working or daddy was working. And, we just had to keep everybody together. And even though they was working, I don't know how they maintain a family on the salaries that they made. It is just, when you think about it in retrospect,
amazing.
I don't know how they did it. Only with the grace of God and faith and friends, the sister down the street or the girlfriend next door who became my mom's girlfriend, who became like an aunt or something like that. The community was very tight. And so I loved school. And I don't know if that was sort of a refuge for me, a lot of reading, and I love science. And so I went away to school on a scholarship to Adelphi University.
Awesome.
And so that was and I always knew I wanted to be a nurse.
Always.
I guess always. I suppose being like an older sister, taking care of younger brothers and sisters, but I just always wanted to be a nurse. So I went to Adelphi and I studied nursing, and that was my first degree. So going to New York from Washington, D.C., that was probably my first trip out of D.C. was going away to school. But I wasn't afraid. I was ready. I said, I've got to go. This is the only way. I know I'm not going back. This is the only way that I know I'm going to be able to reach my goals. And
Delores.
Yes.
Before you go any further, we're going to go to a break really quickly. But one of the things that we're going to talk about when we come back from the break is the fact that where she came from, she created a mindset that made her dream big. And I think that's such a big piece of what we get to talk about here is from what you came, what the education did, and how you dreamed big, and then how you also see the world, which when you bring in her art around her house, you guys, it is obvious what she has done with this. So I'm so excited to continue this conversation. As soon as we come back from the break, we're going to hear more about how to create the space you love.
Wow, you guys, Delores Oliver is super bad all day long. She absolutely is one of the girlfriends in the tribe. When I tell you, just the snippet of her story that we've heard so far, her background is absolutely extraordinary. And you guys, I mean, I can't even imagine, how, all the intricacies of completely tearing it down to the foundation and building a brand new house on Chesapeake Bay. I bet you it's absolutely gorgeous, right? So, how many of you have taken on a project? Maybe you've taken on a project. I know in Bloomfield Hills, where I used to live, a lot of those houses, it is like the most expensive property probably in Michigan, one of. And a lot of times, people will come, and because it's a well-established neighborhood, a lot of the houses are older. A lot of people come in there and they tear the houses down and rebuild on the property. So maybe some of you have had to do that. And then, there are times where, you want to create a new space, especially I love what Sabrina said, being an entrepreneur, you have to create a space that you love. And you know what, in all of my houses, and I don't know if any of you guys are like this, all of my houses have had a room that was dedicated as an office, but I love staying in my kitchen. And I don't know if it's because my kitchen always had the big windows and I need to have a whole lot of light. I don't know, but it's like, why do you even have an office? Because you're always hanging out in the kitchen, at the kitchen counter, pretty much, that's where you can find me. So in this new house, we found a new house. So thank the Lord, we'll be moving relatively soon. I'm hoping that I will get accustomed to hanging in the office. Right now where we are, I know my husband's like, Chuck is like, really, you have just taken over my space because I'm right in front of these big windows. So what is your favorite place? What's your favorite place? Put it in the chat. What's your favorite place to hang out? And what are some of the things you put in there to make it?
Hey. Wow. We are so back to We Got Issues. I'm telling you, we are back to We Got Issues. We're so glad that you're here. And you guys, we want to hear from you. So call in to 313-778-7600. We're talking about creating the space that you're in. You guys, so much has been covered on our show. We talk about the trauma that we've had, the issues that we had. We've talked about the good things, the hard things. It's something to walk into a home that's absolutely gorgeous. It's something to know that you're worth it. One of the things that Delores and I was talking about was that women need, and particularly African-American women, need to be reminded over and over and over again that we are worth the nicer things in life. We are worth doing things that make us feel good. We are worth fighting for people to give us what we ask for. And she's been phenomenal at asking for what she wants. She made every builder and designer and kitchen, when I tell you the kitchen, oh my goodness, it was exactly what it needed to be. So Delores, you were talking about how you left and went to New York, and then you were there, and I interrupted you with the break. Did you want to finish your thought about where you're going?
What I did want to mention too is that you were talking about the vision and how it was always just a focus of mine, just to do something different and to be different, as well as to dream big. And to be more than maybe the poor little girl, the smart little girl that's in the corner. But it
Yes.
took a lot of different trials and, you know, a lot of ups and downs before you get to that point where you really believe in yourself and you say, oh, it's worth it, and you're worth it. So
Yes.
I just kept plugging along. And I guess the experience at Adelphi University, Garden City, Long Island, New York was very different from Washington, D.C. So you learn a lot about yourself. And I did learn a lot about myself there. And what I did learn is that I could compete and I could hang with the best of them.
All
And
right.
the other thing I realized there is I really had to fight for what I wanted.
Right.
So, and, you know, it was part of the civil rights movement and that kind of thing. And so it was a small group of African Americans on campus. And, you know, we made some demands, and it built a lot of character in you. And you didn't even realize it at the time. But looking back, I realized that was real important. And I did learn how to fight for what I wanted. So, and after that first degree, I came home and then started moving up and one level after the next. And then I really wanted to do more than, and I love nursing. I love being at the bedside. I love caring for families and for patients. But I also wanted to have an impact, a broader impact on more patients and on the community. And the way to do that was leadership. And so I went back and got involved in leadership, and that's how I got involved. That's how I ended up in the C-suite.
Wow. In the C-suite. Yeah, you know, I love the word the C-suite. You know, I want to say this, and then Caterina has a comment. Delores and I were talking, and she said, you know, Gloria, I don't want to appear braggadocious. You know, I don't want to. And I said, Delores, this is what this show is all about. This show is all about lifting other people, encouraging other people, inspiring other people to think bigger than where they are comfortable right now. And if we don't show all that we have done and accomplished and bring in girlfriends like you who have done the and then some, how else are we going to inspire other people to think about the big things that can happen for us, the multi-talents that we have? You've just brought out so many different multi-talents within the same person. So I'm here to cause everybody listening on We Got Issues to learn how to brag about yourself, because when you highlight yourself, you are giving insight to other people of what they can do and when they can do it and how they can do it. Caterina, you had a comment.
Yes. I mean, I think it is one of my top favorite things to do, Delores, is to see beautiful homes. We just got some new homes up here, and I just can't wait. I think maybe this weekend we might go peek in with our masks on. And so I'm with Gloria. I'm on Gloria's side of the fence of my ability. My mother has that ability, but I look around, and I just had this conversation with my husband wanting to redecorate and bring things up to date. Where do you start? Like, how do you know? Where do you start, and how do you even keep it organized? Is it something you totally delegate? But I don't even really know where to start. Should I start in my bedroom? Should I start here? For those of us who ain't going to knock the whole house down and start from scratch. How do you start? How do you figure out your style? Like, I just don't even know. I want to know from the pro.
The way I start is I started with the room that I love the most. And because that's where I was going to spend most of my time. And so that's where I wanted to have all the details of everything I wanted. And that was my kitchen, because I love spending time in the kitchen. And so I started there. And, you know, I just started looking at designer magazines and, you know, just to get different kind of ideas. I went online, and I just spent a lot of time by myself, kind of just doing my own research. And my husband is very easy to work with, and he was like, okay, I don't have the taste for all that or the patience for it. So once you figure it out, you can bring it to me, and then we can, you know, agree or disagree. So that's how I started, was with the room that I love the most, which is the kitchen. Now, I tell you what was a challenge is finding the right designer to work with in terms of designing the kitchen. You know, so, but I also knew a basic style that I wanted. And then I started looking at different companies that could do that for me. Number one was a good architect. And that's because we were tearing the whole house down. If you're renovating, of course, just start with the room that you love, that you're going to spend most time in. And that for us was the kitchen. For my husband, it was the bathroom. So I did the kitchen first, and then I did the bathroom because that's where he wants to spend all of his time. And that worked out. That worked out for us.
Wow.
You are just giving us permission to dream. Your story is so inspiring. And I mean, the chat is just blowing up. This is really so important. Thank you for bragging. I bet you ain't even all the way bragging, but
right.
Yeah, I got some questions. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
So Delores, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for your excellence. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. You are just an amazing woman. And so when it comes to decorating, I mean, I'm like you in the sense that I know what I like. And so magazines are always a great place to start. I'm kind of like, I find in the magazine and then I give it to somebody and say, do this. This is what I want it to look like. That's simple. But can you talk a little bit about, my daughter always talks about you have to know how to ball on a dollar. Okay. And so sometimes people think when they're decorating that everything has to cost a gajillion dollars. And there are times where, you have to invest in certain pieces because you need the quality, you want it to last. But there are times where you can add some pieces. It's like, sometimes you look and somebody might have an expensive bag, but the rest of their outfit came from, TJ Maxx or someplace else. So kind of talk about how to throw in some pieces that don't have to break the bank.
Well, that's exactly right. Because if you have a very nice piece that might be a little pricey, and you can find something at someplace like a Home Goods or a Marshall, TJ Maxx in their home area, and I would go there and pick up a little piece. This would be a nice accent, and nobody would ever know the difference, especially when you're doing your dishes or you're doing your glassware or you're doing those fancy towels that Gloria keeps talking about. I told her exactly where they came from, but you don't have to break the bank. And that's the other thing that I found too, is that in doing your research, then you can really compare prices and you want some quality for whatever you're going to pay. So once you spend a little time with that, then you can kind of say, okay, I'm not going to spend all that when I can get something. This looks just as good. It's going to last. The reviews are good. I tell you what was very important is looking at reviews that people have put online. And I use that more than I ever thought I would. So I thought that was very helpful. And that's something new. So, that's a good thing. As well as with some of the contractors that I wanted to go with, I made sure I did my homework with those folks because, they'll get you coming and going.
Right.
So you really need to spend some time to make sure you select the right one.
Right. Right. That's one of the things, you guys, seriously, since I've been here, what Delores did was she opened up my mind about quality, that it's okay to have quality. Like I took her dishes out. I took Ken, wow, she has these beautiful dishes. They don't even rock. My dishes go rocking back. I said, ooh, she has Kate Spade dishes. I didn't even know Kate Spade made dishes. It's just, you have to jump into the quality of the towels, the quality. And we're going to talk about her art in a second, but we have a caller. Angela, tell us a little bit about you. Thanks for calling in to We Got Issues. We love it when you guys call in to We Got Issues. Talk to us
a little bit. Angela, tell us about your comments. Well, I'm just going to say I'm excited. I'm waiting to do a closing. My husband had us a new house built. And he said it's my birthday present for the next 30 years. So.
Absolutely, that's right.
Yeah, so I work at home, and so I have to build like a home salon. But one of my favorite areas that I'm looking forward to in my room, like you guys can tell me what you think. I'm planning to do it like a white, like the curtains in white and the French doors, curtains in white, and my bedspreads in white. But I was thinking about doing my accents in like an olive. So in the corner, I painted like the out parts of the mirror in like a walnut color. I got these chairs that got these checkers on it. outline in walnut. So I was thinking of like the red and walnut, and do like a white, black, and olive with the white, the two things.
Wow.
Wow. So we can have like a little conversation corner is what I'm thinking. But I'm excited to really spend the time. It's pretty much stuff that I do like to have women over to socialize. So like in the family area, last year I had the counters made like stomach level so people can just sit and talk and also be, a part of the family room and the kitchen combined so that we can really make sure everything is comfortable. So I'm really excited about that. Really just many times like we have the women over and just really hanging out. So I'm excited.
Wow, Angela. I was like, okay, so first let me say this. I like everything. I like everything. When you said white and olive and walnut, I mean, such rich colors and the rich life. Talking about a way. I let Delores come in, but I was just like, wow, I love this.
Oh no, that sounds like it works to me for sure. And it also sounds like she is one for detail, and that's part of it too. We're trying to make it all work. You got to be somebody that pays attention to all the details. I like that conversation area that you're talking about. I think that would be amazing, especially when you're entertaining. Oh yeah, that's fabulous.
Right. Hey, Angela, I love what you.
Sometimes you can go out to those showrooms where they do decoration with the furniture. Sometimes they change out everything, and you might be getting a good discount price, like the vases and stuff like that, because they're going to change it out. I found the two pieces with that too.
Right.
So
And the other. One of the things that I did also is there were good pieces that we already had, and we reupholstered. And when you reupholstered them, they look totally different, for a new space. So we didn't get rid of everything. We just made
some of the stuff that we have. We just made it work.
Right. That was. I mean, her dining room table is crazy beautiful. But Angela,
Husband he said this is your birthday present for the next 30 years. Ken gave me a gift once, and he said Kip gave me a watch once, and he said this watch is your lifetime achievement award. So I know exactly how that feels. Angela, we love you. We love that you're always on here with We Got Issues. We're so glad that you called in and made our conversation even richer than ever. We love it when you call in. So thank you, Angela. We appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. We're going to head down to Sabrina Goodwin Monday, who's on the radio. You're welcome, Sabrina. You got issues? What you got?
Oh my goodness, Lord. Guys, I am so glad that it was my idea that we bring you on the show.
Here we go.
I totally enjoyed it. A couple of things. We talk about quality, and I think when you get to a stage and age in life, some things are just that important. I remember when I could care less how my silverware felt. I could get a fork from Dollar Tree and be okay with it. I have to have nice silverware. I do. It just makes a difference. It makes the dining experience so much better. And so I think if you grow up in life, there's just some things that you watch and be okay with that. Because it's in talk radio, we don't have visions, we don't have pictures. What is your style, Delores? Like, what would you describe the style of your home? I know we're going to start talking about art. What kind of art is in your home? And there was something else I wanted to ask, but I forgot. And let's talk about that. Just your style of furnishing and then your art collection.
Okay.
When you talk about that, I just want you to add that when you built this new home, you totally changed your style. She went from one home, which was one style, and she changed it totally into another style. So that's a great question, Sabrina.
Okay, the home that we moved from was more traditional style, with a spiral staircase and the columns and that kind of thing, with the separated rooms. In this house, we totally went modern. This was our last forever home, and so I wanted it very contemporary and very modern. So very clean lines, When you look in the kitchen, the wall with all the appliances, it looks like just one straight wall. So all the lines are straight. The art, we have a collection of African American art, a lot of themes in our art, with music, with a lot of birds, with freedom and water, colors. Our basic colors are gray, teal, and purple, plum. Yeah, that color. Yes. So the kitchen is totally white, very modern, very European, like Scandinavian style. No hanging cabinets. Everything is, all of the dishes and all that, they're all in pull-out drawers. So all of that is under the counter, and the counter has the waterfall on each side. So that really opens up the kitchen. And then because we're on the water, all of our windows, the entire house faces the water. So all of the walls that face the water, they're big glass windows. So that's where we brought in all the light. Yeah.
Dolores,
I
what's
mean,
your
it is
address?
so
I'm
cool.
coming tomorrow.
We're coming to come on in. Come on down.
I'm coming tomorrow. I'm inviting myself, Dolores. I'm inviting myself.
But somebody made a comment about the light colors, and I tell you, that is what did it for me. The light colors have made such a difference. And with the walls are gray, the drapes are gray, so everything blends right into the wall. The hardwood floors are the dark contemporary floors. We've got porcelain and our foyer, porcelain throughout the bathroom. So we just opened it all up. Very few walls.
Dolores,
yeah, it's very
did
open.
you go? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think our dream eventually is to be on the water. But what scares me is all the things that come with living on the water. How did you guys calm your fears when the big storms come? Talk to us about how you decided to live on the water and all that comes with it.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I have to say, my husband has always wanted to live on the water. And we've had this property on the water for about 30 years. And of the 30 years, we've had several big storms, but we are up on a hill. And so we haven't had the water. In fact, there was only one time that we boarded up for a really bad storm. And even with that one, we didn't have any, we've never had, thank God, we haven't had any real damage. But living here permanently, you're right. We had to do some soul searching about, okay, this is going to be every day now. How are we going to deal with this every day? We have no clue of what it's like. But I put my faith in God, and I said, this is where we should be, and this is where we are. And we haven't had any problems. We stay on top of the weather, but we've been, and the other thing is we have the windows and the doors are designed for being on the water and dealing with the wind, because in the wintertime, it can get very windy off of the bay. And so we had to deal with that.
Dolores, can you talk to us about the sunsets? Please talk to us about the
sunsets. My God.
Please.
Oh, the sunset is just breathtaking. And the moon, the moon reflecting off of the bay. On some nights, it is just unbelievable. And the other night when we had sort of a red sky and the moon, it was just, it's breathtaking. Yeah, and we can sit in our living room on our sofa and look up through one of the high windows, and we can see the moon right from our sofa. It's amazing. So we're really enjoying it.
It's amazing. Okay, so Dolores, tell them about how you travel around the world and pick art. You have art from here. You have art from everywhere. I mean, I think there's some of us who travel, we see art, but we don't necessarily understand the importance of it or how to transport it. You see something, you love it, but you don't buy it. But you guys have a serious collection of art. So talk a little bit about that.
Our art collection, we've been collecting art for probably 30 years. That's one thing. And so our style has changed as we grew, and we matured, our style changed. But as we would travel most places, but we always only bought African-American art. I think the one place that we did buy something was in Vietnam, but that was a colorful vase and, just some accessories, but the color scheme worked for us. And we just pay a lot of attention in terms of how they're going to transport it, and we insure it. We make sure that it's insured. And we use a particular company that we've used in the past. So we try to, stick with the company that we know because we have the trust in that. One challenge that we had is when you're traveling, sometimes what you buy might get home before you get home. And so you have to be aware of that. So I might have my daughter, our son, go to the airport actually and get it for us to make sure that we get it home. Yeah,
Okay,
so there are a few challenges with getting that art home.
I want you to talk a little bit about how insistent you were to get what you wanted when you were paying the contractors, the builder, the architect. When her husband was talking about how Delores, the lights, it has to be exactly dripped this way. I think that some of us sometimes don't have the courage to demand what we want, even when we're paying for it. So talk a little bit about that, because when you talk about life lessons and what our listeners are looking for to create the space you're in, you have to be willing to push the envelope because you're paying the money.
Gloria, you are absolutely right. You do. And you have to be unapologetic about it. But you have to know also what you want. And so once you know what you want and the builders may not be able to get you exactly what you want, then you have to determine within yourself, am I okay with that? And if you're not okay with that, you need to say that. And again, my husband was very supportive in that. He said, if it's not what she says, and then there's no point of even discussing it. Let's make sure we get it right. But I did try. I was also sensitive about, their time. And, so I am respectful of that. So after a few times, we said, okay, let's just do it right the first time. And then we won't have to go back here because the builder said, well, Mrs. Oliver, if she doesn't like it, we're going to have to do it over. So it's no point of us doing it until we get it right. So I kind of established that from the very beginning. It also helped, I think, coming from my career of being chief operating officer of a hospital. You get used to kind of directing, and guiding folks. And so, I was pretty comfortable with that.
Yes, guiding. I like that. Guiding and directing.
Okay.
So since we have some amazing women, talk about your closet. Y'all.
Oh, God.
Her closet is Chris. Her closet is everything. Katrina is all up into the closets now, Delores. She's all up in the closet because she just brought in a special space.
They're coming in 2 weeks to do my closet. After you talk, I'm going to be like, start over.
Describe your vision and what you created for your closet, Delores.
Well, being a professional woman, I had plenty of clothes, for many years. And once I retired, of course, we were not going to need all that stuff. But because we travel also, we still needed to maintain a decent closet. So we devoted one room in the basement that we converted to wall closet that you walk in and you sit down and you select what you want and everything is there. Surprising, you were talking about managing your budget. That entire room was done by a very skillful craftsman and IKEA and me and everything in there. But if you looked at it, you would never believe it. But he had a vision and he and I worked together several times, and he was kind enough. He lives in Florida, but he did come up to help us with a few things to finish the house. And so he came and he said, I think we ought to do such and such. And I think this, and the two of us sat down and we put it together, and the doors slide one way and slide the other way. And my husband has one side, I have the other side. And it works out. Yeah. In fact, Gloria was there. She took some pictures of it today.
Because it was fabulous the way he customized it. It seems like you never have enough space. Okay, so one of the things I want to read about you guys, I want to give you guys some stats, because this is an issue that I've had, which was buying online. Like, I am not that strong when it comes to home goods. But I'm not good at home goods, let alone buying them online. Let's just be clear about all of it, okay? However, how big is the home decorating industry? The global home decorating industry, you guys, is a $616 billion industry. And by 2027, it's going to be $838 billion.
Wow.
That's the home good industry.
Wow.
And then it talked about the growth. The growth of the industry is growing at 4 to 7% a year, depending. And so that's a huge growth that's going on. The home decor market in the U.S. is $125 billion just in the U.S. And then they talked about shopping online. That's a whole nother group where it just blew up in the pandemic, and it's going to stay that way. That's what they said. It is going to stay that way. So in the U.S., the online home furnishing industry grew at an average of 7.6% between 2015 and 2020. And what they're expecting it to go into a $9 billion just online in the U.S. in 2021, which is absolutely big. The global online home decor market is expected to grow by $83 billion in the next 2 years.
Wow.
Online. So it's really big. Selling furniture. I have another girlfriend. I walked in her house. She had the most gorgeous couch. I mean, it was gorgeous, white, beautiful. I said, girl, where'd you get that couch? She said, online. I was like, for real. You bought it online? Like, she said, I bought it online. I can't even imagine. I know I'm not the only idiot out there. I know I'm not the only person out there that doesn't know how to buy furniture online. But Delores, did you have to do a lot of yours online? What did you have to do when it came to online?
Well, I had to do just about everything online because we were in COVID. So, and the other thing I found out is that the major furniture stores no longer exist. Right. They've gone out of business.
Right.
And a lot of the designer fabric places, they had gone out of business. So all of that industry is online. And so what I found myself doing is selecting things, but asking, and you can still do that. You can still ask for samples to be mailed to you. And they will send you samples of the fabric so you can still feel them and that kind of stuff. But the majority of it was done online. Now, when it came down to many of the pieces that we had reupholstered to go with our new decor, that was local. And it was a business that the decorator that I was working with, and she'd had a relationship with them, and they took care of all that. That was local. But the majority of the light fixtures and all of the other accessories and that was all online.
Wow, that's amazing, because her fixtures,
and that was a challenge in itself. And you had to really trust yourself. Yeah. Wow. Because it was like, oh yeah, well, that was it.
Right.
So can you imagine trying to select a floor in COVID and you couldn't go into the store? And then I'm in the parking lot talking to the sales guy, and he's pulling out samples, and he brings them to the front door, and then he leaves, and then we drive up and we get the samples and bring them home. And because it was COVID, so we were dealing with the pandemic.
So Delores, it sounds like, did you design your whole house yourself, or did you do parts of it and bring in a designer as well?
My husband and I, with the architect, designed the house from top to bottom.
Interior decoration is what I meant.
The interior decorating, I did it with an interior decorator.
Okay.
And so, yes, and but I tell you, even though I had one, I did as much work as she did. So it was like my husband was like, "But why do you even need her if you're going to do this too?" But that's just how it had to work for us, for me anyway. Yes, but I did have, because that gave me the assurance or the reassurance that it was the decisions I was making was, that they were good decisions. It's always nice to have somebody to bounce it off of, and somebody who was interested in it as much as you were. So that was very helpful. Yeah.
I have one question.
Someone said I miss Pier 1, and she's exactly right. I did miss Pier 1.
Mm-hmm. I miss some big time Pier 1. That's kind of stuff I would do. I didn't go to William and Pomona. I went to Pier 1. Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question, Delores. Talk about the experience. The first house, the second house, the third house. What did you learn along the way as you built these different custom houses that you might not have known the first time that maybe some of our callers can lean in on?
Oh, I guess, I learned that being a very compulsive person, I learned that I needed to build a house that I could manage and be happy with it. I mean, the first house that I built was just, it was too big, and I couldn't manage it, and I couldn't be happy with it because I couldn't keep it as clean as I wanted it. And it just was too frustrating for me. So I learned along the way, you don't need this, you don't need that. So, and the other thing that I learned is that I just wanted the openness. I just wanted it to be that if somebody's in the kitchen, I want to be able to see them from the family room, so I just wanted, and that togetherness and how people interact. I wanted it to, support that kind of thing. So, the other thing that I learned is that I learned that in the first house, I really love hardwood floors. So I made sure that we had the hardwood floors. And so awesome. You're right. I did learn a few things along the way.
Well, thank you so much, Delores. This has been a fabulous conversation. We got issues. We have to close the show. Caterina, do we have an announcement we need to make, or we'll do it next time?
I think we could do it. I think we'll do it next time.
We'll do it next time. Since the music is playing, we got issues, Delores. You brought us the joy, the light, the love, the lessons. We love thinking big, and we love meeting super bad all day long women. Sabrina, we missed you on Facebook, but we loved you on the radio. This is 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We got issues brought to you by the Force of Friendship. Check us out on our social media because we love you. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow, 6:00 p.m. We'll be here with you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
I mean, he just knocks us off.
Okay.
I'm not getting cut off. I said I'm not getting cut off. Oh my gosh, that was great. Weren't y'all inspired? The audience was inspired.
Oh, good. She's amazing, y'all. She's just amazing. So it was so good. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you for your conversation. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for hanging with us. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:00. We promise a topic you will love. Talk to you later. Bye.